Hey, what is going on, you big-headed Bisharp? Today, I'm going over my Pitch Black set review and buy list. Before I jump into that, if y'all ever need any new Pokemon TCG products or cards, the Card Coliseum has got you covered over at pkmandcoliseum.com. Whatever it might be, from singles to sealed products, they'll have you covered over there. Link will be in the description, pkmandcoliseum.com. Code is GG will also get you a discount over there as well. So Pitch Black's coming out here pretty soon. I actually meant to get this buy list out a little while ago, a little bit late on the set review buy list here for Pitch Black, but we're here nonetheless. So let's go ahead and let's jump right into it. Starting off with this Grubbin. It did initially make its way to my buy list, but because there's not a strong Vikavolt in the format, I decided to take it off the buy list. But if we ever get a good Vikavolt in the future, this would be a consideration because it's got that string shot attack for a single colorless energy. It does 10 damage. Flip a coin of heads. Your opponent's active is now paralyzed. Paralysis attacks on your pre-evolution Pokemon are never a bad option to consider putting in your deck. It does have 2 retreat costs, though, which is not great. The 2 retreat cost is a little bit unfortunate. But besides the 2 retreat cost, not a bad card in the Grubbin. Up next, there is the Lurantis EX. This did not make its way into the buy list. Neither is the Lurantis EX. There might be a cool meme deck here to try out, though. 260 HP, EX Pokemon, of course. Lively Cutter for a single grass energy, does 60 damage plus 200 more damage if this Pokemon was healed during this turn. The way I've seen this be played is with Erica's Vileplume, so that's kind of cool. Is it cool enough for it to be a good deck, though? I don't think so. Leaf Guard for colorless and a grass. 140 during your opponent's next turn. This Pokemon takes 50 less damage from attacks, so it's okay. Pretty mediocre stats overall, I would say, though. Up next, we got the Poltchageist here, 30 HP. Its ability, if this Pokemon can't be affected by effects of attacks or abilities during your opponent's next turn. So that includes Dusknoir, that includes the spread damage from Phantom Dive, that includes Monkey Dory. So many different things. The Hide and Seek ability blocks. The Fruit of Drop here as well. Place 1 damage counter on one of your... Oh, 1 damage counter on your opponent's active Pokemon. I thought it was one of your opponent's Pokemon, but it is not. And then that's for a single colorless energy as well. So this did make its way into the buy list, the Poltchageist and the Sinistcha. I'll put the buy list down in the description, of course, as well, so y'all can check it out down there. Hide and Seek, once again, as the ability. And then it's got the Matcha Spin attack for a single colorless energy. If you have 6 or more Pokemon in your discard pile with the Hide and Seek ability, place 4 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon. Also on the buy list, of course. I think there'll be a couple different ways to play Hide and Seek decks. The Dhelmise, of course, has gotten the most hype recently because it did get 2nd place at the Japan Championships. But some kind of Sinistcha spread build could be pretty good as well. Keep moving along here. There was this Char Cadet, another Char Cadet that Ceruledge has access to, but I don't know. I'm just kind of out on Ceruledge right now overall. It just doesn't feel like a super strong deck. I don't think this Char Cadet's making the difference. Generally, I really like the 70 HP 1 retreat Char Cadets. 80 HP, 2 retreat cost. Best Punch does 40 damage, which is more than enough to KO Badoo. We already have Char Cadets that KO Badoo, which is the main reason to play certain Char Cadets over others. I guess Best Punch can KO like Chikoritas and Bulbasaurs now. I guess this is what Best Punch could do for us. So I don't know. Maybe there's something here with the Char Cadet. It's not on the buy list though, because I'm just kind of I'm tired of Char Cadets. We have too many Char Cadets in the format. There's also this Armarouge in here as well, which could be a consideration as a inclusion in a Ceruledge EX deck as a counter to Crustle, but I think the Tauros is still just better actually, so I didn't include this on my buy list either. But Flame Legion for a single fire does 40 plus 40 more damage for each of your bench Pokemon that has a fire energy attached to it. So, and also only has 140 HP, so if you attack into a Crustle with a Spiky, they'll be able to return KO you if you don't one-hit KO them, and you'll probably need 3 or 4, or 2 or 3 fire energy on your benched Pokemon to actually get to enough to be able to one-hit KO a Crustle to begin with. So I think at the end of the day, the Tauros is just a little bit better if you really want to tech for Crustle. Not something I'd like overly recommend. It's like fine if you want to, but probably not worth it. Goldeen, Seaking, Wailmer, Wailord EX did make its way onto the buy list. I did add Wailord EX to the buy list, and of course the Wailmer 130 HP. Water Gone for 40 for 2 water, and then the second attack for 3 water, it does 80 damage. But this Wailord has a ton of HP. Maybe I'm being a little bit optimistic about the Wailord. I really like the idea of a deck like this being good. And we're getting all the pieces we need for it in this set, including the Misty supporters, or because of the Misty supporter we're getting in this set that we'll read here in a second. But first attack for 3 water, 120, and then 5 water energy, which seems like a lot, but once you read Misty, if you're not aware of what Misty does, you'll see why it's not that big of a deal. 270 damage, this Pokemon is now asleep. So putting ourselves to sleep kind of sucks. The way that I've been seeing people build the Wailord deck is either just with Wailord, like a 4/4 Wailord in the deck, and that's it. Or I've seen some lists that do include Monkey Dory and Dark Energy. And then we have the Wishful Baton, or it's not called Wishful Baton. What is the name of the card? I forget the name of the card off the top of my head, but a Pokemon, if your active Pokemon has 4 retreat costs and the tool card's attached and it is KO'd by damage from your opponent's attack, you move up to 4 energy, or 3 energy, I think, from that Pokemon to one of your benched Pokemon. So it's how you can kind of chain Wailords and make your opponent go through 3 Wailords with 380 HP each is, I mean, that's a lot of HP to get through, and we're doing 270 damage a turn. We're 1-hit KOing a lot of things. If not, we're definitely 2-hit KOing stuff. Obviously, the sleep thing could be a little bit of a factor, but I don't know. It might be like missing 1 extra card in the future that really will put it over the edge. Oh, you can play Surfing Beach as well, so you can have like maneuver around if you want. So I don't know. I'm pretty hopeful for it. We'll see how it plays out. Relicanth on the buy list as well, of course. The Fossil Beatdown. It does 10 damage plus 30 more damage for each of our benched fossils for a single colorless energy. So could be good in some fossil decks to have like an easy 1 prize attacking option. Definitely like the idea of it. Did not put the Primarina on the buy list. Max Melody. You may use this ability once in your turn. When you play this card from your hand to evolve one of your Pokemon, heal all damage from one of your Pokemon. This is so much more reliant on just having like a big tanky Pokemon in the format that it's worth setting this up to protect. Now you might say, oh, Azul, this combos well with the Wailord, but it's a stage 2. The Wailord already has 5 energy on it. Put some Jumbo Ice Creams in there. Maybe get some Monkey Dory set up. Possibly after rotation when we lose Monkey Dory, Primarina could have its moment, but yeah, I don't think so. Usually those cards are just not very good, to be honest. We got this Manectric here. Of course, it comes with an Electric, which this actually might be the better Electric. It does have Collect for single lightning energy to draw a card from the tackle for 30. I actually don't remember what the other Electric does. I remember it being like fine. But this Manectric here is actually pretty good. First attack for 2 lightning during your opponent's next turn. Prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's evolution Pokemon. And Mega Manectric protects from basic Pokemon. Now it only does 50 damage. So the option is nice. It's not anything crazy though, but it could be a cool way to kind of slow down your opponent while you set up for bigger knockouts. Or it is possible you could just completely beat your opponent with a couple of these. We are getting the Voltaic Lightning Energy in this set, which increases the damage of the lightning Pokemon it's attached to by 20. So Flash Barrier could be doing 70, 90, 110 damage, and that could be enough to overcome any possible way your opponent has to get through this Pokemon that aren't their evolution Pokemon. So there might be some hope here for a Manectric Wall deck for sure. And then Sonic Edge, 3 lightning, 110. This damage isn't affected by effects on your opponent's active Pokemon. So cool little shred attack there to go with that. So on the buy list, of course, to be added to the Manectric deck. There's this Vikavolt here. Did not make its way onto the buy list. It could be a cool deck, though. We do have Canary in the format, of course, a powerful supporter for Lightning Pokemon, especially Evolution Pokemon or Lightning decks where you want to set up a lot of Pokemon. I assume the Vikavolt deck would be probably played alongside Electric and maybe even the Iono's Kilowattrel for draw power. It's got the Quick Dive for 50 damage to one of your opponent's Pokemon, and then it's got the second attack here for 2 lightning energy, 260. If this Pokemon doesn't have a Voltaic lightning energy attached to it, this attack does nothing, so that's not good. But then with the Voltaic, we'll be doing 280. You can put a Brave Bangle on there. We're looking at 310. Get Maximum Belt involved, and we're looking at 330. That's the problem with it, honestly. It KOs a lot of things, but it doesn't KO any of the big Pokemon. The Stage 2 Megas, Dragapult EX, like those we have to like reach for quite a bit to get the KOs. So maybe there's some kind of lightning Pokemon that we could play that like sets up some early snipe damage, and that can be our early game attacker to set up to make it so the Giga Railgun can actually take effective one-hit KOs later in the game. But not on the buy list. Cool meme deck, I think, for sure, but not going to be competitive. We have the Mega Zeraora EX, which I also didn't put on my buy list. I don't think this will be a competitive card. Thunderfist. This deck does 60 damage times the number of lightning energy attached to this Pokemon. That's a lot of lightning energy you'll need to be doing relevant damage on a Mega Pokemon that only has 270 HP. And then the second attack for 150 and 3 lightning to switch this Pokemon with one of your bench Pokemon. And I mean, obviously you can like use the second attack first to build up towards a bigger number, but every deck plays so many boss's orders, and this is going to have to end up in the active eventually anyways. It just does not seem great. And remember, when I am doing these set reviews, I'm talking about the cards in general, of course, but when I'm talking about like the buy list cards, I rate cards on the buy list that I think will have potential in the future in their existence in the Pokemon TCG. Like, I think it'll be a competitive card at some point in the Pokemon TCG in its lifespan in the standard format, because every card lives for 3 years in the standard format, which is a really, really long time. I mean, right now, something might not be good for one reason or another, but there's 2 rotations or 3 rotations before a card's lifespan is completely over. So many different new sets and new cards to come out to potentially combo with it. So you have to keep that in mind when we're talking about these cards and like what makes its way into my buy list and what doesn't. And some of these cards, something like this, if some future, I don't know, stadium card or trainer card allows you to aggressively, consistently get a ton of lightning energy on the Mega Zeraora, I could see this being decent in like some kind of lightning box type deck, but it would require a huge upgrade in the future that you can't kind of predict. And that could be said for like literally any single card. So I just kind of have to use my own intuition from my experience in the game to try and make that judgment call. We do have Scramble Switch currently in the format, but I don't think that makes a big enough difference for the Mega Zeraora. This Miraidon did make its way into my buy list. Actually, when I was recently making a Mega Manectric deck that I posted here on the YouTube channel, I was trying to find like a 1-prize attacker that felt good to use in the early game, but didn't cost a ton of energy to attack with to be able to KO stuff like Badoos and Dreepies, and then had some kind of like more potential past that. And I think I ended up with a Tapu Koko in my deck that for a single lightning energy searches for 2 lightning Pokemon from your deck, so it's a cool setup card. And then the second attack for 3 lightning, I think, did 130 plus 90 if you were behind on prize cards. This might take the spot of that, actually. The Photon Cord is kind of cool. If it's in the active spot and is knocked out by damage from one of your opponent's attacks, move 2 lightning energy from this Pokemon to one of your bench Pokemon, and then its attack for 2 lightning does 90 damage, which isn't a ton, but it gives us something to be aggressive with. That's a 1-prize Pokemon that, you know, we'll actually be able to reasonably take KOs on low HP Pokemon of our opponents, or set up for bigger 2-hit KOs that get followed up by a Mega Manectric. So I like this Miraidon, so I added it to the buy list. I got the Slowpoke, of course, 70 HP, Psychic Slowpoke on the buy list, of course. Could open up a new way to play Slowking alongside the Dunsparce and being able to play Buddy Poffin for its full effect. Got the unlimited disposal attack here for single Psychic. You may discard as many cards from your hand as you like. I don't think we'll be doing that a whole ton. And there is the new Slowbro, which I also did add to my buy list. From what we've seen from Japan, this card has basically gotten no results, but I'm hopeful for its future. All out for a single Psychic. If you have no cards in your hand, this attack does 160 more damage. So that's 210 damage base. Brave Bangle 240. And there's another card we'll talk about here in a second that could combo even further for heavier hits. Jinx here with the Wicked Kiss for single Psychic at the end of your opponent's next turn. Discard the defending Pokemon and all cards attached to it. I initially thought that this said it knocked out the Pokemon. So I thought this was actually good, because you could go like Jinx plus Gemstone and then boss something up and then like Unfair Stamp or Special Red card your opponent. Like bring up their Fez or their Meowth, trap it for a turn. It gets KO'd going into your turn, and then you get to take another knockout. So you basically get like a 4-prize comeback swing. But it just discards it, which is not quite as good. So this did not make its way into my buy list. Maybe there's still some cool kind of like control deck you could play with it. I can't think of what it would look like, but maybe it exists. Got the Shuppet here. Has the hide and seek ability on the buy list. Same with the Banette, the hide and seek ability. This one actually could be a useful attacker in some builds. We did see the second place list from the Japan Championships. It had like a 4, I think it was a 3-4 Shuppet Banette line. So it used it pretty aggressively as an attacking option in that Dhelmise build. It's got that Puppet Pull attack here for single Psychic. You may search your deck for any card and put it into your hand if you do shuffle your deck. So cool early game attacker. You know, be able to get through Dreepies and Badoos and things like that while you are also setting up for future turn. Then we've got the Spiritomb here for single Psychic energy. If you have 13 or more Pokemon in your discard pile with the hide and seek ability, that's a lot. Choose 2 of your opponent's Pokemon and quadruple the number of damage counters on each of them. So this would definitely lean in to the more spread style of hide and seek deck with the Sinistcha, and I could see this being pretty good. Sinistcha's attack is very, very good, putting 4 damage counters on each of your opponent's Pokemon, and then, of course, the big build-up is towards this Spiritomb, and the cool thing about the deck, theoretically, is we are getting the Gwen supporter, of course, in this format, or in this set, so it'll be legal in the format when the hide-and-seek deck cards come out, of course. we won't be drawing prize cards really aggressively in this spread build. So like Gwen building up cards in our hand, and then also like our lilies will be always active for 8. Like we can set up for some big combo turns with Spiritomb pretty consistently, I feel like. So I'm pretty excited to try out a spread build of the deck. Now I do think it's pretty reliant on multi-prize decks being really popular. I don't know how we would fare up against a bunch of one-prize decks like Festival Leads and stuff like that, especially because Rabsca is in those decks. So yeah, Spiritomb, very powerful attack. Of course, getting 13 or more Pokemon in this card power with the hide and seek ability could be tough, but not impossible. Definitely not impossible. We got the Mega Chandelure line here. Oh yeah, Spiritomb's on the buy list. Mega Chandelure also on the buy list. Start with the Litwick here. That's fine. Let's go to the Lampent here. Returning Lights. Search your deck for up to 3 Lampent and put them onto your bench and shuffle your deck. For anyone who's been around for a little while in the game, actually, probably remember the Kirlia. If you go a little bit further back to Greninja Break, we've seen this attack a couple times, and it's always been good. Wait, isn't there something more recently that hasn't been good with this attack? No, maybe I'm wrong. Is this the 3rd time we've had this attack, or is this the 4th time? There was Frogadier, then there was Kirlia, now there's Lampent. Let me know in the comment section down below. Am I missing one in there? I feel like I am for some reason. So very good attack on the Lampent. We do have a Chandelure, a Fire Chandelure in the format currently that says both players draw a card, and then it's just 30 damage times the number of cards in your opponent's hand. So we're going to be able to set up a lot of Chandelures. We'll be setting up that Chandelure alongside the Mega Chandelure EX, 350 HP, Cursed Flames. Your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost is colorless more. And then for 2 Psychics, it does 130 plus 50 more for each retreat cost in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. Well, each star in your opponent's active Pokemon's retreat cost. You guys get the point. So we could be hitting pretty hard with this. Gravity Gemstones in the format. I think there was like one more thing that was in the format that could combo with this, but I can't remember it. And of course, through the Lampent's attack, it'll be pretty easy to set up a ton of Chandelures into play. We'll probably still be playing Rare Candy. Maybe initially on release, it won't be that great. Also, Latias EX is still in the format, of course, which completely removes the retreat cost of basic Pokemon. So it doesn't matter how many Cursed Flames you have and how many Gemstones you have. 0 is 0, and it'll always be 0. So you don't add, well, Latias' 0 overtakes anything you'd add to it. There's not like an order to it. So it'll always be 0 as long as Latias is in play. But Latias will rotate. And if any other Chandelure ever comes out, that is like solid. That kind of fits with this one and the Fire Chandelure. Although the Fire Chandelure actually might rotate, which would be kind of unfortunate. I have high hopes for the Mega Chandelure, mostly because the Lampent, I think, opens up the possibility of any future Chandelure being so easy to play with the Mega Chandelure. So that's kind of where my my optimism comes from on this one. Got the Dhelmise here. 30 damage plus 140 more damage if you have 4 or more Pokemon in your discard pile with the hide and seek ability for a single Psychic Energy. Not bad. And this is what we saw be the most successful hide and seek deck. Although I don't even know if you'd call it a hide and seek deck if it is just a Dhelmise deck from the Japan Championships. Got 2nd place. Basically, I almost don't want to call it Turbo Dhelmise because the deck didn't really like play for like turn 1 Dhelmise attacks, but basically only attacked with Dhelmise, played Legacy Energy so you could attack with more Dhelmise throughout a game, and it seemed pretty good overall. So I'm hopeful for the Turbo Dhelmise hide and seek deck. Also hopeful for other builds of hide and seek decks to be pretty good as well, but the Dhelmise one seems to be like the go-to one for right now. So obviously on the buy list, also have the Marshadow on the buy list as a combo card with Mega Chandelure. Shadow Knot, 30 damage times the number of retreat in your opponent's retreat cost for a single Psychic. Cool little one prizer to play with this Mega Chandelure, I guess. The Annihilate did not make its way into the buy list, but it's got some cool meme potential. It's got that durable body ability. If this Pokemon will be knocked out by damage from an attack flip a coin, if heads, this Pokemon is not knocked out and its remaining HP becomes 10. Ghost Blow, 100 damage, place 5 damage counters on one of your opponent's bench Pokemon. There's a lot of support for this Pokemon in the current format. We've got Mystery Garden. Oh, wait, the Annihilate is Psychic. But the Mankey and the Primeape aren't. I was about to be like, we got Mystery Garden, we got Telepathic Energy. Man, we can't even Wondrous Patch to the Mankey. Okay, you know what? This thing sucks, man. I was so excited for a second there. Up next, Rampardos EX. Did not make its way on the buy list. This is what I would hope I'm wrong on. Once again, if I put something on the buy list, I think it'll be competitive. It'll be a competitive meta deck, like probably in the top 3 tiers. It'll be like at least a tier 3 competitive meta deck at some point in its lifespan in the standard format, and I'm saying it no to Rampardos, but I hope I'm wrong. 330 HP, Fossil Stage 2. That is important. Destructive Headbutt. Once on your turn, if this Pokemon is in the active spot, you may flip a coin. If heads, discard energy from your opponent's active Pokemon. It's okay. Rampaging Hammer for 2 fighting, 150. During your next turn, attacks used by this Pokemon deal 150 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. It's okay. It's all right. I don't think it's going to cut it. I hope I'm wrong, though. We'll have to see what the future holds for Rampardos. Drilbur here on the buy list, of course. Call for Family, search your deck for 2 basic Pokemon and put them onto your bench and shuffle your deck for a single colorless. Not bad. Nope. I did put Mega Darkrai on the buy list reluctantly, but I feel like in some dark box style deck with Toxtricity in the future, it could be an inclusion. Dusk Raid for 2 dark. If your bench Pokemon have any damage counters on them, this attack does 110 plus 110 more damage. And then the second attack for 3 dark, if your opponent's active Pokemon is affected by any special condition, it is knocked out. Knocking out anything, not bad. 220, also a solid number to hit. I could see it being a 1 of, maybe a 2 of, probably a 1 of in some kind of dark box Toxtricity deck in the future. I'm going to skip all these bad cards. I actually did, and I know it might seem weird, I did put Morepeko on the buy list. I know it might seem weird. It's got the wheel draw for a single dark, shuffle your hand to your deck, then draw 6 cards. The second attack, though, for 2 dark energy, 40 damage plus 40 more damage for each damage counter on this Pokemon. Now, I think this card just, like, weirdly hits relatively high numbers for not that big of an investment that no other card in the format currently hits for you. It's a 2-prize Pokemon, unlike Absol or Darkrai, which are Megas and 3 prizes, which you might not want to attack with a 3-prize Pokemon. And if you like triple Toxtricity to the Morepeko, you're hitting for 280 damage, which is a number that can't be hit that easily with little setup in play in a Toxtricity deck. Obviously, if you have Monkey Dories in play, then like the Brute Banette can hit those numbers, no problem. But you need like double Monkey Dory setup, and then also a way to get 3 energy onto the Brute Banette. But the Morepeko is like a little bit more self-sufficient. I don't know. It feels like it could fill a gap as like an inclusion as a 1 of in a dark box deck. So I did add it to the buy list. I don't even know the word I'm looking for this one, but I'm not like that confident in the inclusion. But it's just a 1 of on the buy list. So. Got the Zarude here. That's bad. Mastiff, Mabostiff, both bad. Chi-Yu, though. Spiraling Envy. For single dark, if this Pokemon has 2 or more damage counters on it, which you can provide to it through the Toxtricity, this attack does 90 more damage. 110 damage for a single dark energy. Pretty easy to set up. Pretty easy to start using early for early KOs or setting up for 2 hits. Pretty good card. It's on the buy list. Same with the Bastidon. Now, Bastidon compared to Rampardos, they're both Stage 2 fossil Pokemon, but Bastidon can be played in so many different ways, and the ability is really, really strong. While this Pokemon is on your bench, prevent all damage done to this Pokemon by attacks from your opponent's Pokemon that have 2 or fewer energies attached. Pretty good. Pretty good ability. It is on a Stage 2 fossil Pokemon, but we're getting some fossil support this set, and this can be played in a ton of different decks potentially. So I have high hopes for the Bastidon in the future with an ability like that. The Mega Excadrill, of course, we got Drilbur on the buy list, so the Mega Excadrill has to come with that. It's a Mega 340 HP for 2 metal. It does 90 damage. Just card the top 2 cards of your opponent's deck. So a good early game attack to get things going if you need to. But it's really all about the second attack here for 3 metal. It does 200 damage. And if you have at least 2 extra energy attached to this Pokemon in addition to its cost, it does 130 more damage. So we're talking 330. That KOs Dragapult. That is the big number that you're hitting here with that attack. And it's pretty easy to get to the 5 energy cost to be able to hit that big number. Through the Matang, you'll probably be playing this card with. And this card has been seeing a decent amount of success over in Japan. It seems like it's a solid deck. I would say, like, in comparison from what I've seen from Japan, in comparison to, like, it seems like it's like the Mega Lucario of the set so far. Where it's like, Mega Lucario's good. It's seen some play. It's seen some success. But it's really hard to tell how successful or how good this card actually is until we get our hands on it and can really play with it ourselves and really flesh things out fully. Because there's only been that one major tournament in Japan in this format. There's been like a lot of like, you know, local tournaments to like look at, but that's not really much to go off of. So to me, I'm getting like Mega Lucario vibes, not in terms of its like future potential, but like what we've seen from it so far. It feels exactly kind of the way Mega Lucario did when it first released over in Japan. We got the Toucannon. I am a bird believer with this one. I want to see this card be good, and I'm so hopeful for this one. A big thing with this card is we got the Pikipek and we got the Trumbeak. And thankfully, Trumbeak has 90 HP, which means Fan Rotom will be a big card for setting up these fellas. And then getting eventually to the Toucannon, of course, which we can't Fan Rotom for, but we have other ways to find the Toucannon. Sky Draw, once on your turn, you may draw a card. Feather Rondo for a single colorless energy. This attack does 20 more damage for each bench Pokemon to play, both yours and your opponent's. So, at the very least, we'll be hitting for 160. An Area 0 in play. Maybe we play Noctowl. I don't know what Terra Pokemon we play. Maybe Pikachu. Not sure. And then on our side of the field, we can at the very least hit for 220. And then our opponent's going to at least have one bench Pokemon, probably. So we're looking at 240, but they'll probably have a couple more. So we're looking at 260, 280. I mean, decks like Dragapult will probably be able to play like a pretty low bench. But yeah, I'm pretty hopeful for the Toucannon. I can see like a really thick Toucannon line alongside a Terra Pokemon with some Area Zeros and some Noctowls. Just get a bunch of Sky Draws cooking. See a bunch of cards. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly how to play the card, but can hit pretty hard for a one-price Pokemon that only takes a single energy to attack with, which is a big deal. It doesn't have like a crazy built-in draw engine. Like Sky Draw is like fine, right? But you know, every little bit helps, especially when we're going up against stuff like Dragapult. So I did put the Slowbro on my buy list, which means the Type Null and the Silvally have to make their way into the buy list, because if I think Slowbro has potential, this could definitely be the card we play in that deck. So that Call a Buddy ability. Once on your turn, you may use this ability. If you have no cards in your hand, search your deck for a supporter card. Or supporter card, reveal and put in your hand. Oh, I thought this was for any card. Did it like get mistranslated at some point? I swear this was for any card. Okay, this card might not be played with Slowbro. Okay, I'm rethinking. I literally thought Call a Buddy, search your deck for any card. I'm not gonna lie. Okay, I'm a little bit, but it would still be okay as like a 1/1 to set up, right? Because it could find your supporter every single turn. Okay, I'm not sure about this one. I'm not gonna lie. I thought search your deck for any card. Why can't I search your deck for any card? We have no cards in our hand. We can't search for any card. Okay, this makes way more sense why like the Slowbro lists I were seeing weren't playing this card. Honestly, am I taking this off the buy list? No, I think if Slowbro has potential, you could still theoretically play this card in the deck. I literally thought I'd search your deck for any card. What the heck? This is so much worse than it's so much worse than I thought, but I could still see it. I'm not sure about that one, to be honest. Into the trainer cards, Dark Bell, both active Pokemon, except any Dark Pokemon are now confused. On the buy list, obviously combos with Darkrai, but just kind of a really annoying disruptive card in general. Skull Fossil, I didn't put Rampardos on the buy list, so Skull Fossil is also not there. Armor Fossil on the buy list, of course. Heroic Bomb, I did add this to the buy list. This is an interesting card. If the Pokemon this card is attached to is not a Mega Pokemon EX and takes 240 or more damage from your opponent's active Mega Pokemon EX, place 12 damage counters on the attacking Pokemon, then discard this card. That's gonna be weird. This is like a, I mean, it's a card that's like extremely good potentially in decks like Dragapult. Which does Dragapult really need another option for a card? It probably won't see play in Dragapult, but like imagine like if Mega Lucario becomes really, really good. And I mean, the way Dragapult loses to Mega Lucario is they one-hit KO your Dragapults, but you put this on your Dragapult, getting an extra 120 damage out of nowhere is pretty nice. Probably won't see play in that, but I can see this being played in the future for sure. Backtrack Badge. Once on your turn, after you flip any coins for an attack of a colorless Pokemon this card is attached to, you may ignore all results of those flips and begin flipping those coins again. Very good card for those colorless Pokemon. Misty's Energy. So this is the Wailord combo card. Obviously, if you play this card, your turn ends. Search your deck for up to 4 basic water energy and attach them to one of your Pokemon. Then shuffle your deck. So your turn ends, but you get to fully accelerate your Wailord. Get that thing set up, ready to go. Gladion's Decisive Battle. You'll only play this card if it's the only card in your hand. This is the card I was talking about that could combo with Slowbro if we want to hit a little bit harder. During this turn, attacks used by your Pokemon that do not have a rule box deal 80 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. This is being played heavily in Festival Lead currently because you're playing Secret Box in there with some Ultra Balls and get down to a 0-card hand and pretty easily one-hit KO anything. And also this now gives Festival Lead a tool to get through like Monkey Dories, because previously you had to 2-hit KO a Monkey Dory or 1-hit KO it with your Festival Lead in play. Like you have the Festival Grounds in play, and then you hit the Monkey Dory twice, but that's annoying. But now we can KO the Monkey Dory and then KO the next thing, or KO the first thing and then KO the Monkey Dory, stuff like that. So gives a whole nother way to get more aggressive as a Festival Lead. Rust Syndicate Grunt. You can use this card only if one of your Pokemon is knocked out during your opponent's last turn. Discard 1 energy attached to one of your opponent's Pokemon. This seems really good. Can you imagine sitting there like LGMing your opponent? LGMing. You're using L-Gym, moving energy off your opponent's Pokemon. They finally set up an attacker. They knock out your L-Gym, and then you go Rust Syndicate Grunt, L-Gym again, and now they're not attacking again. Pretty good. Pretty good card. Good card. We've got Gwen here, obviously going to be one of the main supporters in the hide and seek deck, but besides that, it's a pretty niche supporter. Very good in hide and seek. We've been seeing some Grimmsnarl decks play this as well, and specifically it's cool in Grimmsnarl because they play the Spike Muth Stadium, which allows them to kind of fuel something like Gwen more consistently than other decks would. Discard up to 2 Pokemon from your hand, excluding any rule box Pokemon. Oh, I didn't read that part of the card at all, dude. I'm learning new things about cards all the time. Excluding any rule box Pokemon. Draw 3 cards for each. This is like even more niche than I thought it initially was. Draw 3 cards for each Pokemon discarded in this way. Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know it had that caveat. Caveat? Right there. Also, Excavation Site. On the buy list, of course, once on each player's turn, they may search the deck for 2 trainer cards with Antique in their name, put them onto the bench, shuffle their deck. Got the Voltaic Lightning Energy. The Lightning Pokemon this card is attached to does 20 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon. We got the Shadowy Darkness Energy. Prevent all damage done by your opponent's Pokemon, your opponent's attacks to the bench. Dark Pokemon this card is attached. I was like, wait, is this way better than I thought it was? No, it is not. It's okay. And then finally, nope, and that's it. Not the Slowpoke. And that's it. That's the whole Pitch Black set. That is my set review. Buy list will be down in the description, like I mentioned. Once again, I'm just kind of judging the cards. The cards that make their way onto my buy list, I think will be at least a tier 3 deck in the standard format at some point in their lifespan in the standard format, and that's when they make their way onto my buy list. Let me know down in the description. Do you think there's any cards I didn't include on my buy list that should have been on the buy list, or any cards that were on my buy list that should have been on my buy list? And I'll catch y'all in the next video. Peace.